Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Sammy Leggett here representing Team JVS. Here you guys, another review from TIFF 2024. I'm talking about The Substance. This is Demi Moore. She plays the role of Elisabeth Sparkle. Elisabeth is a star. I mean, she's at the higher echelon of Hollywood, but she's getting a lot older. She's slowing down, whereas before she'd do like exercise commercials and brand deals and model and whatnot. Now she's doing those things, but it's just not the same. They're not met with the same exact eyes and the same exact excitement. And at this point now, she feels like she's at the end of her rope. Like she might have to stop altogether. And she doesn't look at herself as a beautiful woman anymore. Now, she is presented with this substance or something to use to remake herself, so to speak, and allow herself to rejoin those glory years of youth and wealth and all that. But it comes at a price. It comes at a sacrifice. And the sacrifice is that even though you can go back and be a younger version of yourself, your older self still exists. And it has to lay dormant while you or it goes and lives that life that you wanted to relive. And the film itself is so interesting because it's very smart in the sense that, you know, there's a cost for everything. It's a cost for beauty as much as there's a cost for, you know, doing things the wrong way, so to speak. And in this film, Demi Moore's character is brought with a lot of different opposition. But it's not until Margaret Qualley's character comes into play, who plays the younger version of Elisabeth named Sue, that you start to really unpack psychologically what's really wrong. And I think that the people that make the decision to take the substance, they are dealing with an identity crisis, and they're also dealing with an inadequacy about themselves. And so when the things start happening, like when you start to realize like certain things that have to be done to make this all work, it has to be a consensual kind of union. And when you're fighting at odds with yourself, you don't like yourself, what does that mean physically? This movie is the personification of a person that just does not like themselves anymore, and what the lengths and willingness they're willing to do to hurt themselves to get to what they need to. There's another film that kind of did something similar with that, just not in the same exact vein. It's called The Cut. Boxing movie where Orlando Bloom, very rough to see, and this is much worse because this goes down the road of horror, Cronenberg-esque, body morphing, like the very opening of this and seeing what Demi Moore's character had to do to herself alone is just, it was sick. Like, this is not, you don't want anybody to watch this that is 16 or under at all. But I will say Demi Moore is on her best A game. She is amazing. Like, there's moments where she's playing an older version of herself. There's moments where she's playing like a person that is just dealing with a lot emotionally and what that high impact looks like. She's just completely committed. Margaret Qualley, I think, dare I say, is just terrifying. Like she plays a very interesting, innocent looking role, but it is actually very vain and destructive and like very sensual and very, very scary. Dennis Quaid, like he is the villain of this. Like, it's interesting seeing certain actors play like these villainous characters, but I've never seen Dennis Quaid play like a villainous character. And he plays the role of Harvey, who's the manager over Demi's character, Elisabeth, and he just is the worst. He actually is the worst. But this film, man, when you get to the second and third act, it's gonna gross you out. When I mentioned Cronenberg, I meant that. Like, this is down the roads of like 90s horror, where anything kind of goes and you're seeing stuff and you're sick to your stomach from where and certain lengths they go. Not saying this is like going down the road of Human Centipede or like some of the other stuff that Eli Roth has done, but it is very gory, it is very gruesome, it is very disturbing in a lot of different ways. But I think if that's your bag as far as a horror, I think it checks all those boxes in a very elegant way. But I think that general audiences are gonna still have an entertaining time with it. It's just getting the journey through that is just a lot. Again, the cast is great with each other, great chemistry between Margaret and Demi when they actually have to deal with their emotional back and forths. But I don't know if it's my cup of tea. But I did think it was a good and a well-made film, down to the certain shots and imagery that they kind of used to just shock us. They also had a really decent score that kind of added to like the weight and the volume of things and circumstances that are happening. But yeah, I rest this at a 7.5 out of 10. Highly recommend you go and check it out. I thought it was a really good film, but I have a lot more content coming, a lot more things to talk about at TIFF 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace, people.